The next item on the docket, Unrivaled Basketball, frankly could have its own podcast. This thing is fixing to be wild, folks. Like, I don't know if you're excited for it, but I can promise you are intrigued by it. I am both, just for the point of order here. I know it's going to be great basketball, but I'm very curious into what else is it? Is this like part basketball, part reality show? If it's anything like their marketing on all of their social channels, whether that be Reels, TikTok, YouTube, this is going to be like a behind the scenes. We're getting 30 WNBA superstars in South Beach kicking it. Team vibes, photo shoots, lives, streams. And whether that's Unrivaled encouraging their players to do this or the players just doing it on their own behest, it's going to create a lot of buzz. And it's going to create a lot of intrigue completely devoid of the basketball, which I promise you when that ball tips is going to be uber competitive. But therein lies the $1 million question, quite literally. Will the 3v3 format be what the audience is looking for? Will the new rules, with the new style, will that be enough to propel the league forward? That's obviously TBD. I think with the supplemental team aspect, the player content, the behind the scenes all access, I think that gives it a great shot because you're creating storylines, personalities. You're getting behind these players to root for, to root against, perhaps. And I think that does a lot, especially when you're embarking on something that a lot of people have no idea what they're in store for. Which leads nicely into a very interesting question I saw posed on Twitter not too long ago, relating to the macro expectations of Unrivaled Basketball, their staying power, as well as can this really be a rival to the WNBA? Now, let's answer the last question first. I do not think it will be a rival to the WNBA. I think American sports culture is pretty set on legacy leagues. I think if you were to give even Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier truth serum and say, hey, we'll let you win 5 Unrivaled championships versus 1 WNBA championship, I think we all know what they're going to choose. And it's their dang league. And that's no shade. It's just the fact that even while you can be a disruptor in the industry, how these players' legacies are ultimately going to be measured will be what they've done in the WNBA. And that's just the fact of the matter. Now, even though I don't believe Unrivaled is a threat to be a competitor, quote unquote, to the WNBA, I do believe that it stands to make a massive impact potentially on women's basketball in general, as well as the WNBA specifically, because as we all know, after the 2025 season, a new collective bargaining agreement will be on the negotiating table. If the Unrivaled league comes in, is a success commercially, socially, it's already been a success financially, that's going to give the WNBA and its players that much more leverage to negotiate something they have not gotten since the inception of the league in 1997. That is player empowerment, but more importantly, that is a fair equity stake in the league they make up. As for the question of staying power, how long do I see this league running? Well, honestly, in a perfect world, I would want the WNBA to absorb/buy Unrivaled. I think that is the best case scenario. They can use it as a developmental league. They can use it as off-season content. They can continue to use it to build the brand of the WNBA. And this is not even mentioning the countless opportunities this will give women's basketball players a chance to make a paycheck in the offseason, a chance to hone their skills. If you've been watching the WNBA for longer than a couple seasons, you know something the WNBA does notoriously poorly is develop young talent. This is a dog-eat-dog league like we don't see in professional sports. If you don't have it early in the WNBA, there's somebody coming for your spot. This will give those players a chance to develop, a chance to show they actually do have what it takes. Now, expansion will certainly help that as well. But I see people poo-pooing this, saying the WNBA doesn't need that. Everyone needs development. Beyond that, like I said, you can use it in several ways. You can use it for off-season content. You can use it to build a bigger, more robust fan base. I see very little downside if this, in fact, is what the league eventually evolves into. But that's where we'll leave the Unrivaled discussion for today. But let me know in the comments, what do you think the staying power is for this league? And do you think it can actually compete with the WNBA for market share? I'm very curious to know your thoughts.